Hello everybody, SlimKirby here. Welcome back to Let's Play Fire Emblem Path of Radiance. We have a big secret we're about to learn here, so I'll go ahead and just explain it kind of briefly, just to get it out in the open. Okay, so as you remember back in Chapter 10, that was back when Volke first joined us, and he told Ike that he had a report he needed to share with him. Well, there really isn't a report. That was more of the long lines of as a test to see if Ike would be trustworthy enough to gain Volk's trust, I guess. And then he was really supposed to stay around, and when the time was right, he was going to tell Ike a secret about his father. And apparently, Volk has been hired as Grail's shadow. Or, well, he was his shadow when Grail was still alive. Basically, he was Grail's shadow in the sense that if Grail were ever to go berserk, Volk would have to kill him. Now, I know what you're thinking, kind of confusing, and they're kind of going over it right now. The medallion that Mist has is called Laurent's medallion, and it's believed that a dark god lives inside the medallion. And it can cause someone who can't control the medallion to go completely insane. Now, when Grail touched the medallion, he went berserk at one point, and he had killed a bunch of these enemies that were attacking the village, a village that he used to live in. And then he started attacking other villagers, the people who were actually allowing him to stay there, and then he accidentally also killed someone else. It'll show you who that is in a few seconds. But it's really not Grail's fault, it's the medallion that made him go insane. And the only reason that Mist holds the medallion is she has like a secret power inside of her that kind of nullifies the madness that the medallion brings out. Normally it would be Herons that can control the medallion's power, but Mist can somehow control it as well. Now, a lot of this is explained more in the Radiant Dawn, to the point where they even kind of change things around a bit. For those of you who have played Fire Emblem Radiant Dawn, you should know exactly what I'm talking about. Because Radiant Dawn does a lot to this story. I think the story is actually pretty good in this game. Radiant Dawn kind of like switched it around and turned it into almost a huge mess of things. But I'm not going to go that much detail into it. Radiant Dawn explains a lot of that. But anyways, getting back to Grail's little period of berserkness, I guess you can call it. He also managed to slay his own wife. So Ike's mother was actually killed by his father. It wasn't Grail's fault. It was the medallion's fault, obviously, because the medallion warped Grail's mind and turned him into a berserk guy or whatever. So Ike's going to learn the truth about the medallion, about his parents, his mom's death, and a few other things that happen. Anyways, when Grail finally got back into control, he hired Volke to keep at his side just in case if he ever went berserk again. It was Volke's job to kill him. Now, since Grail is really powerful, really one of the more powerful people in the entire storyline, he actually severed some of his tendons in his hands, so he couldn't really wield a weapon that well. So this would help finish off Grail if he ever did go berserk. And that's probably what happened in the Black Knight fight, because even though Grail was the Black Knight's teacher, all his severed tendons made him lose the battle because he wasn't as strong as he used to be. But yeah, that's basically the whole story. Kind of confusing. I'm sure a few other people can explain it better. Or if there's a website that has the story, you could probably learn the story a little better. And then Volke is also going to ask Ike if he wants to hire him, even though we've already hired him like 2 times already. But we get to hire him again for a 3rd time, and when you do that, Volke promotes into an assassin. This is not the last promotion we'll see in the game. We have one more promotion, and I believe you know who it is. It's the Mist, obviously, since she's the only person who hasn't promoted yet of the people I am planning to use. And Volke is now an assassin. Really, with the assassin, all you get is a critical boost. That's really all you get. Nothing that major. And apparently Volke is not really a thief, he's just an actual assassin. That's why Grail hired him, just so he could use an assassin's talents just in case he went berserk. So yeah, I hope I explained that decently. I probably didn't. I'm probably going to get a comment from Sitarman345 saying, "No, you did it wrong. You should be ashamed of yourself. You suck at explaining stuff." Whatever. Screw him. He hasn't updated Do-Re-Mi in like weeks, so screw him. So yeah, we're going to continue on. I'm just going to show the beginning part of Chapter 20. Not really going to get into this chapter. This next chapter is pretty easy. I think I said already. But this chapter shouldn't take me very long at all. So, I think this next chapter will be up on Sunday. Yeah, Sunday. So, look forward to this on Sunday. The whole chapter will be up, so you can see what happens. Defending Talrega. Some of these names might actually sound familiar if you've been paying attention to the storyline. But, I'll go more into that later, because we have another important plot point right here. As you can see, Ike is still kind of demoralized from what he learned from Volke. It's kind of taken a toll on his mind. And yeah, that was another footage cut right there. I didn't miss much, just one line. He has a lot in his mind, obviously. And very conveniently enough, convenient to the point where it's like, oh, of course. Of course, we just mentioned this, so we're going to immediately go into a plot point about it. Apparently, Mist just lost her medallion. Isn't that ironic? Isn't that very ironic? Of course, Mist would lose the medallion right after we find out how dangerous it is. So yeah, very, very, very ironic. But enough about that. Let's go back to Daein Army. Here we have General Shiharam. I probably botched that, but whatever. If you remember enough, Shiharam is actually Jill's father. So this is the chapter that we'll need to keep Jill out of range of her father, because if she gets into contact with her father, something will happen which could kind of screw you over in more ways than one. But I'll go over that later on when in the actual chapter, but let's just say that it is very risky to go into this fight with Jill. So just keep that in mind and be careful. So yeah, we're really going to see Shiharam's true colors. Shiharam, even though he's lived in Daein for a very long time, he really does not like General Petrine or any of the Daein army for their strategies that they're using. And we'll see what strategies they're going to use for this next battle. And he is not really going to be set on doing this battle just because of how dreadful and how terrible the conditions are. Now, as I said, you want to avoid using Jill in this chapter. I am still going to use her. There's really only one little part, or one little aspect of using Jill that'll screw you up, and I'm going to avoid that aspect. Anyways, Jill was the MVP, of course, in that last battle, so yay. And now we're at the base of Chapter 20. Once again, the next chapter will be up on Sunday, but now, this is SlimKirby. I gotta sign off for a bit, so I'll see you guys next time on Let's Play Fire Emblem Path of Radiance. Later, folks.